Hello, good morning. Welcome to my Wednesday devotional. I hope everyone had a happy Easter and a very happy spring break. All right, so today we are wrapping up Esther chapter 1. Next week we'll move into Esther chapter 2. So we only have one verse. And so I've added a few other little thoughts to that. So let's go ahead, and this is the last verse of Esther 1. It's verse 22. So we're talking right now, just recall that we're talking about the king's advisors as they're trying to figure out what to do with Vashti. How should we handle this because she was disobedient to her husband, the king. So this is what the leader of the group said. So he sent letters, this is verse 22. He sent letters to all parts of the empire, to each province in its own script and language, proclaiming that every man should be the ruler of his own home and should say whatever he pleases. Wow, I'm sure we wouldn't hear this in 2023, right? I had to underline that because, wow. If we were to say that in the United States right now in 2023, I think all the feminists and whatnot would just probably, flip out. I don't know. This is a very controversial statement, am I right? But really, up until about 1963, this was the story. This is not so long ago. So, while there has been some good things for feminism that have done for all of us, such as the right to vote and drive and go to work and do a career that we want to do of our choice. However, when there's choices and there's things that happen, there's always consequences, both good and bad. So, yes, we have good things such as the right to vote. I always appreciate that. I make sure to vote because it was a very hard fight in 1920. The suffragettes, they suffered quite a bit to give women such as myself the right to vote. So I definitely believe that we should vote. And I believe women, should have, their choices and their options just like men. However, what do we have now? And what happened in Esther with Queen Vashti? She decided to take feminism in her own hands and just disobey and say no to the king. And as I pointed out all through chapter 1, she didn't get very far, unfortunately. Now, some people could say, well, she said no. Okay, that's a short-term game, right? Okay, she had a couple of moments to stick it to him, all right? Well, what's the long-term thing? What's the long game? Well, she lost. She was deposed, as they said. But now we don't know if she got her head cut off. We don't know if she was just simply banished from the kingdom. We know that she was banished from the kingdom and away from his sight. His advisor said that. Okay, but was she killed or was she just sent to her family's house? We just don't know. Point is she's gone. And the advisor said, he needs a new queen. So, great for Esther. And we're going to find out in the coming chapters, what happens when you are obedient, or at least try to work with your partner, your spouse, even in work, even if you're not married to this person. You always have to think about going along, get along, right? And how do we get there? How do we work with people? Work relationships, that's in all the leadership books. It's just tough, right? So we know what Vashti did. She was disobedient. She lost. So now we're going to flip over and find out, what did Esther do? How did she handle this? So I just wanted to bring in Ephesians really fast, just as a quick reminder. I can see we're kind of lost the bottom of my verse here. Sorry about that, but I'll just read it to you anyway. So this is out of Ephesians, out of the New Testament, kind of fast forwarding. Verse 22, for wives, this means submit to your husband as to the Lord. And in verse 28, now this is the caveat, In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as they love their own bodies. For a man who loves his wife actually shows love for himself. So I think, in my opinion, and I've of course done a lot of research about this, and it's just a fascinating thing for me to look at as I've talked a lot about feminism. What does all this mean? What does this boil down to? What can we do as wives, right? And women in society, okay? I think the answer is both things, okay? You can't have an extreme one way and another way, both are wrong. Both extremes are wrong. We need to go right in the middle, and we need to compromise. That's a key word that you hear about a lot in marriages, right? Compromise. Because both parties are important, and I think what happened, is I saw some history footage or something recently. I don't know if you know Betty Friedan. She was in 1963 the starter. She wrote the book The Feminine Mystique, and kind of the catalyst to our postmodern feminism that we're still in. And so I think I saw some footage or something somewhere where she was saying, I want more than just, cooking at home and taking care of the kids and blah, blah, blah. And I understand that, we're all intelligent women, especially nowadays. A lot of us are educated, sure, however, we still do have kids and we still want to have husbands. So how can we balance, that feeling, and so what post 1963 is, okay, all women go to work. Well, that left behind kids and husbands too. And now we're seeing all kinds of things going on with kids nowadays, and it's just so sad. And a lot of relationships, a high divorce rate, so you kind of have to ask yourself, what's important here, and in my opinion, as I was watching it, I thought to myself, what Betty Friedan needed, and again, just my opinion, just speculation. I mean, I don't know her or anything, but maybe what she just needed was to be heard. Maybe it wasn't so much about, ditching the family or whatever. Maybe she just wanted to be heard. Maybe she just wanted to be respected, and understood. So, because prior to that, we were seeing a lot of patriarchal, a lot of men are the king of their household. And yes, they are, but some men, in some situations can take advantage of that and be abusive, and that's not right either. Nor is it correct for a woman to be abusive and, get so far into her masculine spirit that she's forgotten her kids and husband. That's not right either. So both answers are wrong, and I think both sides have been abused. So now that we're kind of seeing both ends of it, I wonder if in our future we can somehow meet in the middle and find respect for both genders, for everyone. Just a thought. Just an opinion, just something to kind of think about. As we are in post-COVID, COVID was officially ended today, and, it's now over. So, we can go out into the world now, right? So now what? So maybe this would be a time to, think about what the Lord would have for us. And yes, the Lord wants us women to be obedient, but He also wants the men to love us too, to hear us and respect us and treat us well. And, I think if we have respect going, both ways, then we'll be able to come together and work together and have something great, right? All right. Well, anyway, I hope everyone had a great spring break, and I know it's just kind of allergy season. Now that it's spring, even though I love spring, you might be hearing my cat. She's sneezing in the background. So, so anyway, hopefully our kitty will get better. All right, well, I hope everyone's having a great spring season, and I thank you so much for watching, and I hope we'll see you next week, and we'll be starting to cover Esther chapter 2. All right, thank you very much. All right, bye-bye.